So this is my first day of vacation. That's not vacation really, but because I'm actually seeing work people today, because I've never met them. Who knows what they smell like? But someone had DM'd me and asking me like, how the heck do you not take any days off for a year and a half, and why would you do that? And isn't that bad? Yeah. But here's how we got there. Let's back solve for this a little bit. So a year we launched, right? Not this past January, but January before. It's a rough launch. We're getting negative reviews. When we first launched, 92% of the players are not playing for more than 10 minutes. A lot of that's xCloud. They're very finicky, jump in. But our tutorial stuff had not gotten done right. Like, we had an engineer that didn't finish stuff and then left us. And people had to go back in and fix all of that stuff. And, my fault, right? I'm not blaming that engineer. It's my fault for the management of that and sitting on top of that, making sure that transition was smooth. But so we're entering into this period where in June, we're kind of betting it all. Like, we'd fixed that, right? We're getting positive reviews. Like, we've turned the corner. People are sticking with the game. Like, all of this is going well, but we're kind of betting it on that we're going to have this free weekend on Steam, and that is going to be our savior, and that's going to bring in a bunch of money. Free weekend on Steam, do a lot of good numbers. A bunch more people play the game, and we just see more people playing it on Game Pass than buying it on Steam. Like, essentially, that was an advertisement for Game Pass players. So that wasn't the money that we needed. And that hurt. That was hard, because that was that realization of, like, we are trapped in a box. So right away, I'm like, yeah, we were talking about closing the office. We're closing the office. We're going to do a lot of other kind of cost-cutting things, but here's the deal. We're going to run out of money in October. I'm very blunt with everybody. If you work with me, I want you to always understand what you're getting into. Like, when you get hired, I tell you how much money we have in the bank and how much, like, everybody should know that, right? That's only fair. But I'm like, we are hemorrhaging cash right now, and we need to do some pretty drastic steps. And so with that, we all got together and talked about what we thought would be impactful, and weapon stuff was impactful. There's another game mode, which is like a very, like, in your face kind of boom, 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 like how it changed how it played and feel, made it very phonetic and phonetic. And then there was another system that didn't really get a lot of attention, but one person really wanted to do it, and I kind of let that happen where I normally don't let that happen. And I let that happen for the sole reason is I realized I had to do something else. And so I realized for that summer, I was not going to be able to care about game design. I needed to go raise money. And so there's this point where I started reaching out to every publisher that I knew, everybody in the industry, of like, hey, will you fund us till 1.0? We're already out. You can get a game for cheap. And everybody looked at it and said no. They wouldn't pick something up that had already been released. And then some people gave really great feedback of why, and very practical, and like those people, and I'll work with them in a minute. But they weren't working with us now. Couple people did that horrible thing of like stringing us along and then never coming to fruition. And like, I'm an adult. I know unless the money's in the bank, I don't trust you. Not that I don't trust you, but yeah, I don't trust you. I don't believe this is going to end, right? So that keeps going on. And then we got some interest from some investors that were kind of looking and saying, okay, hey, it's cool. You ship something, you learn something. Second game's always better. Let's look at this. And so we did a lot of that. Both those take a lot of time. You have to do decks. You have to practice it. It's me alone on these. And I'm just going out hat in hand being like, hey, this is where we are, and being very blunt and honest about it. And it just wasn't happening. This is also like that year. Remember, this is a year ago. Is all of a sudden Facebook does their layoffs. And the minute that happened, all of a sudden everybody got the fear of God in them of what was going on. We had one other deal that we had said yes to with somebody else to make game 2. We thought that was in the bag. We actually spent a little bit of money setting that up so that we could go. They're like, in December, we're going to rock on. And then in November, they had a crisis and then canceled everything. They canceled things that they were already funding. They canceled everything. We were in that cancellation. So we look at that. We're like, okay, so we need to then go figure that out. But so right now we're hitting October, that date I talked about. Now, some people are already leaving because they realize what's going on and they want some more stability. God bless you. If you said, and I would say this to people, if you say you want to leave let me know, and I will start making phone calls for you. I will make sure you find something. And so as October is coming around and it's clear we're not getting any of these going on, and we're getting a little bit of money from our current investors are like, hey, we'll float you to cover for this, period of time. We'll have to figure it out. A bunch of people left. And yes, it's always harder for them because they're in a position where they had to do that. And we didn't really lay them off as much as say, hey, you've got to find, we will help you find places, but this is the reality. And this is we're going to look way different at the end of October. And in fact, we would pay you, man, if you lay people off on the 29th, you're a jerk. In the US, you lay off people on the 1st every single time because that way they have health care for that month. And that way their COBRA they have to worry about it to the next month. Don't ever jerk somebody around like that. Even we had no money and I would put my money up just to do that. You just don't ever do that to people. But that's the place we're in, right? And so October, we lose some people. Then December, when that doesn't come through, same damn thing, man. And doing that around the holidays, oh. And again, don't feel sympathy for me because these are other people who actually got laid off. Their point of income coming in. I mean, I'm not taking salary myself, but still, right? I'm fine. Worried about all of those people. So then in January, we actually do a sale on Steam, and we're going off of Game Pass, and we have the biggest sale ever. We make the most money we've ever made on the game. Now, that isn't so much money that we can go retire. This is just enough money to cover the burn for a little bit longer. And so we go into this period where we're like, okay, we're going to look at DICE and GDC, and we're going to pitch Game 2. If people don't want to do Game 1, we'll just set up Game 2. We'll make it smaller in Game 1. We'll go on. We're talking to people. Things are going well. These 2 people in particular were ready to go. I get COVID, so we have to delay it a little bit. While we delay it, Embracer Group collapses. The people we were going to work with had something to do with that, we'll just say. They went silent or just said, hey, we got to put this on pause while we sort through this. So at that point, we're like, hey, okay, that all fell through. That was all a fucking waste of time. Every single meeting I did was a waste of time. Maybe I was bad at the meetings. I don't know, but I don't know anybody else that was getting money at that time either. But we could have been pitching the wrong thing. We could be doing the wrong thing. We could, for all those instances, it could be my fault. I was just bad at doing it. 100%. People don't trust me anymore. I don't know, right? You get low. You get low, man. When you go out there hat in hand and willing to do anything, and then people say no, it's hard. So I got to hold my phone. So we just we have the money to stay on this game. Let's do versus mode because that's the most requested thing. We did that. That picked up sales. We did a great thing with the Humble Bundle. That was around the same time as that. The summer versus was good. But again, never a great thing. So we're still in this point where we are scraping by, but we're going to get to 1.0. We have enough money to do that. We are seeing this change happening with the game. A lot of reviews coming in this week, positive. And so it's just okay, we just need to keep focused at this. We just need to go. We need to go 1.0. We need to keep building on this. Yeah, there'll be a Game 2 in the future that we'll talk about. We'll figure that out. We'll be out pitching and we'll go do that. But right now, the Anacrusis is in a good spot. It's a $20 game now. It's from 1 to 8 players. We're good. We're good. We just need to keep doing the work and we need to execute it on doing it. And so that was it. I just, during all of that time, it's just, man, raising money and doing publisher pitches just exhausts me in a way that's hard to talk about. Investor pitches in particular are exhausting even more than publishers. And so that took 1.5 years. And then finally I was just I need to go see my sisters as long as I haven't seen my oldest sister since the pandemic. And I miss her. I miss her whole family. I miss my nieces. I miss their brood of kids. My sister's a grandmother now, which is weird. And I just wanted to go see her. So no matter what's going on, we're going to ship 1.0. We're betting on it. I'm still going to take 3 days, really Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So even not even much of a vacation. And I will think about work during then. But that is how you go for 1.5 years without taking any breaks and not achieving anything during that. I don't know, man. But that was it. And that's where we are.